Sexual practices in Senegal and their effects on the lives of youths. Senegal, a country known for its rich cultural heritage, hospitality, and strong Islamic roots, holds many layers beneath its surface when it comes to sexuality and youth life. While on the outside the society may appear conservative, with traditional and religious values guiding many aspects of daily life, the truth is more complex. Like many parts of West Africa, Senegal has its own unique sexual customs and evolving practices that deeply influence how young people view themselves, relationships, and their future. In Senegal, sex is rarely discussed openly in public or family settings, yet it plays a subtle but powerful role in how society is structured. The silence surrounding sexual education, the pressure of societal expectations, and the rapid influence of globalization have created an environment where youths are caught between tradition and modernity, often without clear guidance. One of the long-standing practices still found in certain parts of Senegal is the préparatrice de mariage, older women who prepare young brides for marriage, including teaching them about sexual duties. These women are believed to have deep knowledge passed down through generations and are considered essential to preparing a girl for her marital responsibilities. However, this type of preparation often emphasizes performance over understanding, teaching girls how to please their husbands sexually rather than equipping them with proper knowledge about consent, reproductive health, or mutual respect. In urban areas like Dakar and St. Louis, the conversation about sex is slowly changing, but not necessarily for the better. With the rise of social media, global pop culture, and the spread of internet access, more and more Senegalese youths are exposed to sexual content at a younger age. Music videos, especially those influenced by French and American culture, have introduced more liberal expressions of sexuality. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and WhatsApp are now common avenues where sexual conversations happen, often far away from the eyes of parents or educators. While Senegal is majority Muslim and religious teachings generally promote chastity and sexual discipline, the reality on the ground often contradicts these ideals. Many youths live double lives, appearing religious and reserved in public, but exploring their sexual curiosities in private. This secrecy has led to a rise in risky behaviors, such as unprotected sex, hidden relationships, and even unsafe abortions. Teenage pregnancy is a growing concern, particularly in suburban and rural areas like Kaolack, Louga, and Tambacounda. Due to the lack of sex education in schools and the taboo around discussing sex at home, many young girls become pregnant without fully understanding how or why it happened. These pregnancies often lead to school dropouts, early marriages, or social isolation. The stigma is severe, especially in tightly knit religious communities where honor and reputation are heavily guarded. Among the boys, masculinity is often linked to sexual activity. A teenage boy who hasn't proved himself by having a girlfriend or engaging in sex may be mocked by his peers. This pressure to conform to a certain idea of manhood drives many into early and aggressive sexual experiences. In many cases, boys are not taught emotional intelligence or respect for boundaries, which leads to unhealthy relationship dynamics and sometimes gender-based violence. There is also the issue of transactional sex, especially among university students in cities like Dakar and Thiès. Some young women, unable to afford basic needs or driven by the pressure to maintain a certain lifestyle, engage in relationships with older men, known locally as sugar daddies or papa riches. These relationships are not always labeled as prostitution, but they involve the exchange of sex for money, gifts, or school fees. The line between survival and exploitation becomes blurred, and many young women find themselves trapped in cycles they cannot easily escape. In rural areas, early marriage is still practiced, often driven by poverty or traditional customs. Girls as young as 14 or 15 may be married off to older men, with the expectation that they immediately begin producing children. These marriages not only limit the educational and economic potential of young girls, but also expose them to health risks, including complications from early childbirth and sexually transmitted infections. Senegal also has certain traditional beliefs surrounding sexuality that continue to affect youth perspectives. For example, in some communities, it is believed that a girl must not lose her virginity before marriage, or she brings shame to her family. This pressure to remain pure often leads girls to hide their sexual experiences, resulting in fear, guilt, and secrecy. Yet at the same time, boys are often celebrated or excused for having multiple sexual partners. This double standard creates a gender imbalance that distorts the way young people view sex, responsibility, and respect. Another lesser-known but important cultural element is the use of exesuses, traditional circumcisers who perform female genital mutilation, FGM, in some parts of Senegal, especially in the south near the Casamance region. Although the practice is illegal and increasingly condemned, it still exists quietly in some rural areas. FGM is often justified as a way to control female sexuality and maintain social purity, but in reality, it causes deep physical and emotional trauma, especially for girls entering adolescence. The health sector in Senegal has made efforts to combat some of these challenges, especially with the involvement of NGOs like Enda Santé and Marie Stopes International, which focus on youth sexual health, family planning, and education. However, their efforts are sometimes met with resistance from conservative groups or misunderstood by communities who see them as promoting Western values. The government of Senegal has made commitments to improve youth health, but progress is slow. While some schools offer basic lessons on reproduction, they rarely go deep into topics like consent, emotional health, or relationship dynamics. For most young people, learning about sex still happens informally, from friends, the internet, or trial and error. One promising development is the emergence of youth-led organizations and influencers using digital platforms to talk about sexual health, relationships, and gender roles in a more open and responsible way. Podcasts, YouTube shows, and Instagram pages are slowly breaking the silence, though they still face criticism from traditionalists. What's clear is that Senegalese youth are in a state of transition. They are navigating a complex landscape of cultural expectations, religious teachings, modern temptations, and personal desires. Without structured education and open conversation, many fall into confusion, regret, or harmful behaviors. To protect and empower the next generation, Senegal must begin to prioritize youth-focused sexual education that respects cultural values but also embraces truth, science, and human dignity. Parents, religious leaders, educators, and policymakers must work together to create safe spaces for discussion, education, and support. Sexuality should not be a source of shame or silence. When handled with wisdom and responsibility, it can become a foundation for self-respect, strong relationships, and healthy communities. Senegal has the potential to lead West Africa in redefining sexual culture, not by abandoning tradition, but by evolving it with care, knowledge, and love for its youth. Thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more.